Ladies and gentlemen, the world is changing faster than ever before. Every day, new alliances are formed, old strategies collapse, and unexpected players rise to the front of the global stage. But let me ask you a question. When was the last time you saw two nations take a step so bold that it shook not only their region, but forced leaders across the world to pay attention? That moment is here. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia are no longer just friends bound by history or faith. They are building a partnership that is rewriting the rules of geopolitics, economics, and security. And what's even more interesting, it's a move powerful enough that even Prime Minister Modi cannot stay silent. Today, we are not talking about headlines. We are talking about a game changer that tells us the future will not be shaped only in Washington, Beijing, or Brussels, but also in Islamabad and Riyadh. This story is about energy, defense, trade, culture, and above all, the courage to think differently. Stay with me until the very end of this speech, because what we are going to explore is not just about Pakistan or Saudi Arabia. It's about the future of how nations adapt, how leaders respond, and how opportunities are created in times of uncertainty. If you understand this shift, you will understand much more than international politics. You will understand the very principles of survival and success in a changing world. So let's begin this journey together, and I promise you by the end, you will see why this partnership is not just another agreement. It is a transformation, a lesson, and perhaps even a warning to those who thought the balance of power could never change. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia stepping into a new chapter of strategic economic partnerships marks a turning point not only for the two nations, but also for the broader region. Historically, their relationship was defined largely by remittances, religious ties, and political support. Today, however, the focus is shifting toward hard economics, large-scale investments, long-term infrastructure planning, and shared growth strategies. Pakistan is emerging as a country with immense untapped potential, particularly in energy, minerals, and logistics. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, is diversifying its economy under Vision 2030, seeking to reduce its dependence on oil by investing in emerging markets and strengthening economic connections with strategic partners. This synergy is creating a win-win opportunity that carries global implications. One of the most visible dimensions of this partnership is energy cooperation. Pakistan has long struggled with an energy crisis that slows its industrial output and burdens its population. Saudi Arabia, being one of the world's largest energy suppliers, offers solutions by investing in oil refineries, storage facilities, and renewable energy projects inside Pakistan. A proposed multi-billion-dollar refinery in Gwadar stands as a symbol of this future, linking Saudi capital with Pakistan's strategic port city, which connects to global trade routes through the Arabian Sea. For Pakistan, this isn't just about fuel, it's about industrial development, job creation, and energy security. For Saudi Arabia, it ensures long-term access to a crucial market while gaining influence over a strategic maritime location. Beyond energy, Saudi investment in infrastructure development has the potential to transform Pakistan's landscape. From transport networks and housing projects to advanced industrial zones, Riyadh's capital infusion helps Pakistan modernize while integrating its economy into global supply chains. In return, Saudi investors gain lucrative opportunities in a market with a young workforce, growing consumer demand, and proximity to China's Belt and Road Initiative. This partnership also includes a financial safety net. At times when Pakistan's economy faced instability, Saudi Arabia extended loans, credit facilities, and oil on deferred payments. What's different now is that instead of being limited to short-term bailouts, the focus is shifting toward long-term projects that bring sustainable growth. This reduces Pakistan's reliance on international lenders like the IMF while giving Saudi Arabia strategic leverage in South Asia. For Europe and the wider global audience, these developments signal a new economic reality. The Middle East is no longer only exporting oil, but exporting investment, while South Asia is no longer merely a receiver of aid, but a hub for strategic opportunities. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia together are laying the groundwork for a partnership that blends economic pragmatism with geopolitical foresight, positioning both nations at the heart of a changing global economy. The strengthening of defense and security collaboration between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia is not just about military hardware or tactical alliances. It is about building a comprehensive framework of trust and mutual reliance that can reshape regional power dynamics. Both nations have long shared a unique bond rooted in religious and cultural ties, but in recent years, the defense dimension has taken on a more strategic meaning. Pakistan's military, known for its professionalism and combat experience, has historically provided training and expertise to Saudi forces, while Riyadh has reciprocated by extending financial and logistical support. Now, these ties are evolving into something broader, touching intelligence sharing, counterterrorism cooperation, and joint exercises designed to strengthen deterrence in an increasingly unstable region. The Middle East and South Asia remain hotspots of geopolitical tension, with proxy conflicts, extremism, and shifting alliances constantly redefining security challenges. Pakistan's proximity to the Gulf, its nuclear capability, and its reputation as a resilient military force make it a natural security partner for Saudi Arabia. For Riyadh, engaging Islamabad more deeply ensures a reliable ally capable of supporting Saudi defense needs in times of crisis. For Pakistan, these ties provide not just military hardware and funding, but also access to Saudi influence within the wider Islamic world, as well as political backing on critical international platforms. Joint military drills and training programs have expanded in both scale and sophistication. These activities are more than symbolic displays of friendship. They build interoperability between the two militaries, ensuring that in any potential conflict or crisis scenario, both countries can coordinate effectively. Intelligence sharing, particularly in areas of counterterrorism, has become increasingly vital. Both nations face threats from extremist groups that exploit regional instability, and by pooling resources and insights, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia enhance their capacity to neutralize such threats before they escalate. This defense collaboration also has implications for broader regional security. India has carefully cultivated relations with Saudi Arabia, hoping to strengthen its own strategic footprint in the Gulf. But as Saudi defense cooperation tilts more decisively toward Pakistan, it sends a clear signal to New Delhi that Islamabad remains Riyadh's primary security partner. This creates new challenges for India's regional strategy and amplifies Pakistan's importance in the eyes of global powers watching the Middle East-South Asia equation. By weaving defense and security more tightly into their bilateral relationship, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia are not only safeguarding their national interests, but also shaping the contours of regional security in ways that could alter the balance of power for years to come. Saudi Arabia's involvement in the China-Pakistan economic corridor introduces a new dimension of connectivity between South Asia and the Gulf, creating a geo-economic transformation that extends beyond traditional trade. CPEC has already been hailed as a flagship project of China's Belt and Road Initiative, linking Guada Port to China's Xinjiang region through highways, railways, and energy pipelines. The addition of Saudi investment amplifies its impact by integrating the Gulf economies into this corridor, effectively bridging three critical regions: the Middle East, South Asia, and Western China. For Pakistan, this is not only about infrastructure development, but about positioning itself as a central hub for international commerce. Saudi participation in CPEC is symbolized most prominently by the commitment to invest in the Guada oil refinery and petrochemical complex. This project has the potential to make Guada a refueling and trade hub for global shipping routes, while also reducing Saudi Arabia's dependence on the Strait of Hormuz as the only export channel. By channeling oil and refined products through Pakistan's ports and overland corridors, Riyadh secures alternative trade routes that protect its long-term interests. Pakistan, in return, benefits from massive inflows of capital, the creation of jobs, and the transfer of expertise in energy and logistics. Beyond oil, Saudi involvement in infrastructure, transport, and industrial zones tied to CPEC ensures that the project evolves into more than a China-Pakistan initiative. It becomes a multinational economic platform with the potential to attract investments from other Gulf states as well. This kind of multilateral participation makes CPEC more sustainable and resilient against political and financial risks, while simultaneously reducing Pakistan's overdependence on any single foreign partner. The implications for regional connectivity are profound. Goods and energy supplies can move from the Gulf into South Asia and onward into China with reduced cost and greater efficiency. For European markets, this connectivity matters because it shortens supply chains and opens up new trade routes that bypass traditional choke points. Saudi Arabia's strategic bet on Pakistan's geography also underlines the recognition that the Indian Ocean and Arabian Sea will play central roles in the future of global trade. For India, Saudi Arabia's economic embrace of CPEC represents a direct challenge. New Delhi has consistently opposed CPEC due to its passage through disputed territories, and Saudi involvement strengthens the legitimacy and stability of the corridor. This forces India to rethink its engagement with the Gulf as Pakistan cements itself as the key South Asian partner in Riyadh's long-term vision. Through Saudi participation, CPEC transformed from a bilateral initiative into a game-changing regional and global trade network. India has long considered Saudi Arabia a crucial partner, particularly for securing energy supplies and maintaining influence over the Indian diaspora working in the Gulf for decades. This relationship served as a steady pillar of India's regional strategy, giving New Delhi access to reliable oil imports and political leverage in the Middle East. However, as Pakistan strengthens its ties with Saudi Arabia in unprecedented ways, this balance is being disrupted, and the impact on India's regional ambitions is becoming increasingly visible. Pakistan's growing closeness to Riyadh signals that Islamabad is no longer seen solely as a recipient of aid or financial bailouts, but as a partner in long-term strategic projects. With Saudi investments flowing into CPEC and major energy initiatives, Pakistan is being positioned as the central hub of Riyadh's Scythian policy. This inevitably reduces India's ability to dominate the narrative in the Gulf, especially as Pakistan offers geographic advantages that India cannot match, including direct access to China through land routes and 2 global shipping lanes through Guadar. For Prime Minister Modi, this presents a difficult challenge. His government has spent years carefully cultivating ties with Gulf leaders, making high-profile visits and signing energy and investment deals. Yet the deepening Saudi-Pakistan relationship sends a clear message that Riyadh's strategic trust remains firmly rooted in Islamabad. This undermines India's efforts to isolate Pakistan diplomatically, particularly on sensitive issues such as Kashmir, where Saudi Arabia's silence or neutrality in the past gave India some diplomatic breathing room. With stronger Saudi-Pakistan ties, that neutrality could shift into quiet support for Islamabad's positions, leaving New Delhi with fewer allies in the Islamic world. Moreover, this partnership creates competition for influence over the broader Muslim world. India has sought to project itself as a bridge between the Gulf and Asia, leveraging its large Muslim population and its growing economy. But Saudi Arabia's renewed embrace of Pakistan reinforces the latter's role as the Islamic world's traditional partner, complicating India's outreach efforts. Economically, India may also find itself disadvantaged if Saudi investments and trade routes increasingly favor Pakistan, especially through CPEC, which New Delhi openly opposes. As these dynamics unfold, Modi cannot afford to remain silent. India's strategic calculus in the Gulf is being reshaped by Pakistan's deepening ties with Saudi Arabia, forcing New Delhi to reconsider its diplomacy, energy security, and regional outreach. What was once a comfortable relationship with Riyadh now faces the challenge of competing with the revitalized Pakistan-Saudi partnership. Religious and cultural diplomacy has always been the invisible thread binding Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. But in recent years, it has begun to take on a new political and economic dimension. The two nations share a bond rooted in their common Islamic identity, with Saudi Arabia being the custodian of the two holy mosques and Pakistan being one of the world's largest Muslim-majority countries. Millions of Pakistani pilgrims travel to Mecca and Medina every year for Hajj and Umrah, making religious ties not just symbolic, but deeply personal to ordinary citizens. These people-to-people connections create a natural sense of affinity, trust, and respect that transcends politics, allowing both governments to strengthen cooperation on a foundation of shared values. Saudi Arabia has consistently used this cultural connection to reinforce its soft power within Pakistan. From building mosques and Islamic universities to funding charitable organizations, Riyadh has cultivated an image of spiritual leadership. In return, Pakistan has often aligned its foreign policy positions with Saudi Arabia, especially in matters concerning the broader Muslim world. This cultural diplomacy has also played a stabilizing role during times of political and economic turbulence, ensuring that the bilateral relationship never strayed too far from its core. Now, however, these religious and cultural ties are being translated into tangible political and economic commitments. Saudi leadership recognizes that Pakistan's population of over 240 million people represents not just a spiritual constituency, but also a massive market and a potential partner in geopolitical maneuvering. By extending investment, offering employment opportunities to Pakistani workers in the kingdom, and facilitating closer educational exchanges, Riyadh is converting cultural goodwill into strategic influence. For Pakistan, these ties provide more than just financial benefits. They offer legitimacy and backing within the larger Muslim community, reinforcing its status as an influential voice in the Islamic world. This dimension also complicates India's ambitions in the Gulf. While New Delhi has cultivated strong economic and energy relations with Riyadh, it lacks the religious and cultural depth that Pakistan enjoys. The symbolic importance of shared faith means Pakistan holds a unique advantage in influencing Saudi perceptions, particularly on sensitive global issues affecting Muslims. For example, on matters such as Palestine or Kashmir, Saudi Arabia's stance is more likely to be shaped by its alignment with Pakistan than by India's lobbying efforts. Religious and cultural diplomacy, therefore, is no longer just about shared traditions and rituals. It has become a powerful tool for transforming historical ties into strategic advantages, giving Pakistan a distinct edge as Saudi Arabia seeks to balance its global partnerships with a reaffirmation of its Islamic identity. The global order is shifting, and Saudi Arabia's evolving relationship with Pakistan reflects a broader transformation in power dynamics. For decades, Riyadh's alliances were heavily tilted toward Western powers, particularly the United States, which provided security guarantees in exchange for energy stability. But the changing nature of global politics, the rise of new economic centers in Asia, and a more multipolar world are compelling Saudi Arabia to diversify its strategic partnerships. In this environment, Pakistan emerges as a natural ally, offering both geographic advantages and political alignment that fit neatly into Riyadh's long-term vision of reducing dependence on the West. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 is not only about modernizing its economy, but also about recalibrating its global partnerships. In this recalibration, South Asia becomes central, and Pakistan holds a unique position because of its connectivity to China through CPEC, its access to the Arabian Sea, and its standing as a major Muslim nation. By deepening ties with Islamabad, Riyadh signals that it wants to balance its Western commitments with stronger partnerships in Asia, ensuring that its influence stretches beyond the Gulf into South Asia's emerging economic and political sphere. This realignment is not limited to economics. It extends into defense, culture, and diplomacy, reflecting Saudi Arabia's recognition that relying too heavily on a single block of powers is risky in a world where alliances shift rapidly. Pakistan, with its experience in navigating complex global politics and its ability to balance relations with China, the United States, and the Middle East, offers Riyadh a partner capable of helping it diversify. This relationship also gives Saudi Arabia more leverage on the global stage, as it can show it has reliable allies beyond its traditional partners. For Pakistan, this shift is equally transformative. Instead of being viewed primarily through the lens of Western financial institutions like the IMF, Pakistan gains recognition as part of a larger Asian and Middle Eastern bloc with growing independence from Western dictates. It allows Islamabad to build economic and diplomatic resilience while elevating its role in regional decision-making. The implications for India and other global players are significant. India has relied on its growing economy to build influence in the Gulf, but Saudi Arabia's pivot toward Pakistan suggests that new alliances are being prioritized based on strategic geography and religious cultural ties as much as economic capacity. For Europe and the broader international community, this signals a multipolar future where regional powers forge independent blocs and where Saudi Arabia and Pakistan together play a larger role in shaping the balance of global influence. Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring this journey to a close, one truth becomes undeniable. The strengthening of ties between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia is more than just a diplomatic handshake. It is a game-changing realignment that echoes across South Asia, the Middle East, and even Europe. We have seen how economic cooperation is creating new opportunities, how defense collaboration is reshaping security balances, how CPEC is evolving into a multinational lifeline, how India's strategies are being challenged, how cultural and religious bonds are transforming into political capital, and how global power itself is shifting from a Western-centric order to a multipolar reality. This partnership is not only about two nations, it is about the emergence of a new world where alliances are based on mutual benefit, shared values, and strategic foresight. It is about countries taking control of their futures rather than waiting for directions from others. And it is about proving that in a rapidly changing world, the ones who adapt, the ones who collaborate, and the ones who act with vision are the ones who shape history. To all of you listening today, remember that such shifts in global power are not distant stories. They affect economies, trade routes, and societies everywhere, including Europe. The question is not whether change will happen, but whether we are ready to see the opportunity within it. Thank you for giving me your time and attention today. I wish you good luck in your own journeys, in your businesses, and in your lives. May you always have the courage to adapt, the wisdom to recognize opportunity, and the strength to move forward with purpose. Thank you once again, and I wish you success in everything you do.